My name is Kevin Fisher, and I'm doing a master's in rhetoric at the University of Central Lancashire. I always define rhetoric as the effective use of symbols to please and or persuade, but I also say that it goes beyond that because it's not just the use of symbols, it's the understanding of other people using symbols as well. I think the master's in rhetoric at UCLan is unique because we have such a small community of students in the masters that you get very interpersonal with your professor and the students. We all go out together and with the professor after the course is done, and not only that, it's a real intimate setting, and I would say that is unique, especially coming from a public school in California where I had 40 semi people in the class down to 10. And I think that it's a good thing for being in a master's program because you get to speak a lot and interact a lot with your colleagues and as well as your professor. For the most part, the rhetoric class or the rhetoric courses here at UCLan force you to interact with one another, especially the other students. I mean, from giving speeches in front of one another to studying outside the class and debating philosophical issues, and down to the nitty-gritty of semantics and syntax. Rhetoric is really diverse in its methodology and its philosophy, and I think that the teaching method and the course does a great job of touching all aspects, from the philosophy, like I said, to the psychology, to the history, as well as the practical aspects of speech giving and so on and so forth. Myself and a couple other students decided to put on a rhetoric club as well. While we're not official, we do meet every other Wednesday where we practice speech giving and really put a praxis to our discipline. Well, every other Wednesday there's a seminar that's going on where there's either someone comes in to give a lecture and we go and listen, or one of the students is giving lectures, and we decide to utilize the every other Wednesday for us to practice our speech giving. So I think that has been something that's been integral to the rhetoric MA and given us a chance to really go outside of what is expected of us in the program. I first read about the master's program in a BBC article speaking. It was actually Johan who wrote an article on Obama's rhetoric and how they're soon to launch a master's in rhetoric at UCLan. This excited me for many reasons. First, it offered the master's in 1 year, which is something that isn't typically offered in the States. You can finish a master in 1 year. Secondly, it gave me a chance to study abroad in another country, which was amazing. Next week I'm going to Italy, for instance, and it's just I would never be able to do that back at home. Another reason that I came to UCLan was also the school prices. They're just as low as a public university in California, cheaper than a private university. So not only would you be able to get a master's for cheaper than you would in the States, you can do it in a year, and in Europe. What a better place. Yeah, Preston is nice. It's a student town, so there's lots of things to do. There's lots of clubs, there's lots of bars, and there's lots of things for students to do. And the standard of living is not that high, so it gives me a lot of money to travel. And that's basically why I'm here, is to study and travel, and it's the perfect opportunity to do such. Beyond just the subject matter of rhetoric, I think UCLan is a great university. They're very student-centric. They aren't just trying to make money off students. They really genuinely care about the education that each student receives, and I think that the the professors are very interested in what the students want to learn and are malleable with regards to such interests. And I would recommend UCLan to any student that wants to have not only a great experience, but a great education as well. I first was introduced to the subject of rhetoric in my undergraduate degree at UC Berkeley, and it was always something that a subject that seemed so elusive and that seemed to span across multiple fields of study, from history to philosophy and communication and psychology, and all these subjects interested me. And rhetoric it helps me understand the world, and I think that is going to be useful for anything you go into later in life. Originally, I wanted to go to law school and do some sort of litigation, but I think as I've gone through the master's program that I'm going to pursue more rhetoric and eventually get my PhD and hopefully teach at a community college where I originally first got my start and become a speech instructor or philosophy instructor, something along those lines. As I've mentioned, the finances for coming to UCLan are not that expensive, especially in terms of the education you receive and the full master's you get. It's a reasonable deal, and what was most important to me was that I was able to apply to the federal aid system in FAFSA, and which made me eligible for scholarships, grants, and loans where need be. I got a partial scholarship to come here, and with the rest, I was able to get loans through FAFSA, which was perfect and allowed me to come and study at the UK. So if any students are thinking about doing a master's, certainly in UCLan, I would say, just like you would at any university in the United States, apply to FAFSA and see what kind of grants and scholarships and loan opportunities there are for you.